Sue Barlow and welcome to Cape House Cooking. Today I'm going to make New England clam chowder. Tom went out and caught me some beautiful quahogs and clams and all sizes. I thought I'd use these nice beautiful ones to make some delicious New England style clam chowder. So I've washed them up. They're all nice and clean. I got the silt and muck off them. And now I'm going to steam them in a few inches of boiling water. A New England clam chowder basically only has a few ingredients: onion, potatoes, and some sort of milk, either heavy cream or milk or half and half. For this recipe, I'm going to use half and half. While that's getting ready, I'm going to chop up my onion. It says the recipe calls for one medium-sized onion, and I had this left over, so I thought I'll just use what's left of this one and then this little baby one. That ought to give me about medium onion. All right, I say if you get through it without crying, you've won. So pretty good. Okay, put that over there so I don't get it in my eyes anymore. The recipe also calls for 4 medium-sized potatoes, peeled and diced, so we can get that going. Maybe I will put this in a bowl. We can work on our potatoes. Okay, those over there. Whew. There we go. All right, well, my potatoes are peeled and it looks like the water's boiling, so we'll go ahead and get those clams in there and get them steamed open. Ooh. And there we go. Lid on, turn it down a little. We're trying to stop it from boiling over. And then I can finish cutting these up. So it says to dice them. Now, you know, there's also Manhattan clam chowder that's popular in New York. And then that has a tomato and tomato puree, or tomato and tomato paste base, unlike our cream and milk based one in New England. And then there's the Rhode Island style of clam chowder, and that one is very thin. They just use the clam juice as a broth. So there's no tomato paste or milk used in the Rhode Island style. It's just sort of a broth made from the clam juice. So that one's pretty interesting. And then in the Manhattan one, they seem to add more vegetables. They put in carrots and celery and different things. Whereas this New England one really just has potatoes and onions. And some people use salt pork because you need some sort of fat, some sort of pork fat usually to flavor the clam chowder. And I'm going to use bacon because my husband loves bacon, and you know what they say, everything tastes better with bacon. So you could use salt pork, but I'm going to use 5 slices of bacon. Since we're not pre-cooking these, we want them kind of small so we don't overcook anything else while getting these to cook in the broth. wait a few minutes. Those clams should steam open in a few minutes. Let me just see how they're doing. The biggest thing is not to overcook these. As soon as they open, you need to get them out of there. Some may open at different times. So look at those. How great does that look? It smells like heaven. Oh, just beautiful. We have 3 left in here. I need to get on board and open up. There we go. Just needed another second or two. We can just set our potatoes aside because I'm going to have to use this cutting board and chop up those beautiful clams. Lost a bit. Okay, I'm gonna chop up those clams. Giving this one last chance. He didn't open. Oh, he did. Thank you. Thank you. And that's gonna be our broth, so we're saving that. You don't want to throw that out. It's me, our beautiful broth. All right, so we have our lovely, lovely clams. And then we can chop those up. Oh, beautiful. Just beautiful. I'm gonna use a fork, I think, to get them out of there. There we go. So Tom got these just in some waders out in the bay using he calls it a potato digger, just a rake with some prongs on it. Dig in the bottom and find these. When I first met Tom, he was doing it with this gigantic 42-tooth bull rake from his boat. And that was hard work. Did I get them all? Yikes. Oh, here's that one that was floating around loose. There's one. There we go. And that is that. All right, and you can see the beautiful colors in these shells. They're just so lovely. And the Native Americans used this purple color, was revered and valuable, and they used it as wampum, which was how they paid for goods and traded. So look at that, beautiful, beautiful colors. And a lot of people are making crafts out of shells. I love making decoupage shells with napkins and Mod Podge, and they just come out really beautiful. So there's lots you can do with them. People make shell wreaths, and these, you don't want to throw these away because there's a lot of crafty things you can do. I'm going to strain this broth. I just don't want any bits of shell in there. So I have some cheesecloth. I can make sure that it's all good. Just like that. couple of pieces of tape here to secure it. Don't want it going all over the place. So let's see. Yeah, I can see there's, you know, stuff in there we don't necessarily want in our chowder. Most of it stays on the bottom, but you never know what's gonna slip through. So we're right about at the top. Should give us enough, I think, to make it. There we go. All right. So the recipe calls for 5 strips of bacon. We're gonna get those in our big pan that I washed out just because I didn't want any pieces of shell in there. It's all going to the same place, but I didn't want any stray pieces of bits of shell. So we'll just stick this in the pan on medium. Get this cooked up. And while I'm waiting for that to cook, I can chop up these clams. Let's see how that goes. It's thought that the settlers started this whole clam chowder thing. Maybe French settlers or from Nova Scotia invented this. So they think that by 1836 it was being served at the Union Oyster House in Boston. So this has been around a long time. They were just trying to figure out, I think, you know, what to do with all these clams they were catching. You know, it's like that Forrest Gump movie with the shrimp. Shrimp gumbo, shrimp grits, shrimp. So it's, you know, stuffed quahogs, clam fritters, clam chowder. A lot of people love linguine with clam sauce, delicious. You know, there's a lot of recipes for that out there. Maybe we'll try that next. One of my brother-in-law's favorite dishes. Yeah, I cut off these black necks. I know some people eat them, but I just say no. And these feel nice and tender. So when we combine it all, we want to make sure we don't bring it back up to boiling, because we really don't want these to cook anymore. They're good just as is. Now that's the tricky part. The second you overcook quahogs and clams, they just get tough like little rubber bands. So that's really the hard thing to look out for. Get rid of these little black necks there. I don't care for. I just find them kind of tough and chewy. And our bacon is cooking up. We can looks like this bacon's just about done, so we can take it out of here, and then we're going to cook the onion in this bacon fat. So that's going to taste delicious. Whew. Little snap, crackle, pop. If you were using salt pork, you'd just take the salt pork out and throw it away. You wouldn't keep it in the recipe, but since it's bacon, we have to keep it in the stew itself, in the chowder, because, you know, who doesn't like bacon? All right. So now I'm going to get my onion in there. Stir that around. I think I need something longer. There we go. Gonna get all those nice pieces of bacon and yummies on the bottom, scraping it up a little bit, moving it around. Saute these onions nice. Okay, so we're gonna add this. We've got about, I think we're gonna try about 2 cups worth. This delicious broth. I had some extra in there, so I think that's maybe all I want to put in there. That smells nice. So now we want to cook our potatoes in that delicious broth that is cooking with the onions. And this is how we're going to get our potatoes cooked. I'm going to get those done. And while that's happening, I can chop up my bacon. Oh, look who shows up for bacon. Not surprising, Miss Cupcake. Nobody loves bacon like Cupcake. She's a fan. You know, one trick is if you have a cutting board that's sliding around a lot, you can just put a towel underneath it and it will hold it in place. Really pretty amazing. Because on these granite countertops, my cutting boards tend to just slide all over the place. So this really solves that problem pretty smoothly. Piece for me. Find you a piece. And a piece for Cupcake. Sit. Yay! There you go. So these potatoes are beautiful, nice and tender, and we're just gonna let them cool off for a few minutes, just because I don't want them boiling hot, because I don't want to cook those clams any more than they're already cooked. And they have to get added back in here, obviously. So we're gonna let this just, you know, come down from that boiling temperature, get just sort of medium hot, and then we can add our half and half and our bacon back in, and our clams, of course. Yes, it is the name of the game. So we'll just let that cool off for a couple minutes. And then I have a few spices that I'm going to add. I have some parsley and a little bit of thyme and just a pinch of dill. So we're going to add that, and of course a few grinds of our pepper, and we'll see about salt. I'm not sure with the bacon. We probably won't need to add any salt, but we'll taste it as we go and we'll add it if we need it. Because everything's all cooked now. It's just a matter of combining it and letting those flavors mix together into pure, delicious, comforting New England clam chowder. Chowder. So I need 2.5 cups of this half and half. Try that. That looks good. This away. If we can get this in here. I don't want to add it all at once because you don't want it to curdle by adding it too little at a time. All right, I'm going to get our clams back in. Ooh, yum. Now, if you don't want it extra salty, if you're worried about it being too salty, you don't have to put the bacon back in. You could just leave it that it's flavored, your potatoes and your broth, and you don't have to put it back in. I'm going to put this on low. Oops, I missed a couple. I'm going to put this on low, get it just right. I like some bacon in there. I do enjoy it. So I'm just going to put some in. I'll put it all in. Why not? Now I'm going to add my seasonings. I've got a little pinch of dill, not too much. Dill's pretty strong flavor. And then a pinch of parsley. A little bit. And then a little tiny bit of thyme. Serve no chowder before it's time. A couple of grinds of pepper in there. Just heating it up because adding that cream, half and half, did cool it down a bit. So we're just heating it up again, very gently. Don't want to overcook anything. Just bringing it back up to temperature. So obviously there's many, many variations of clam chowder, from, as we said, Manhattan to Rhode Island to West Coast to New York, and I think some of the Carolinas and the South have their own versions, but this is the one we made here today, and it's the New England style, and even with New England style, there's so many variations, and I'm sure people were like, no, don't put bacon in it, or where's the salt pork, or gee whiz, you did this, I don't like it thick, I like it thicker. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot my last ingredient. This is what we will thicken it up with, which is some mashed potato flakes, instant mashed potato. We need about, oh, here we go. Open it this way. Need about a 1/4 cup. And that's just going to thicken it up. So if you're of the school of thinking where you don't want it thick, do not add these. Some people add flour, but I read this trick of just using instant mashed potatoes, and it avoids, any kind of clumping from flour. So I thought, well, that's great, and we know we like potatoes in there because we've already put them in. So now I'm just going to stir these in, and it says about a 1/4 cup, so you can just stir these in. And when they say instant, they aren't kidding. We put in those 1/4 cup of instant mashed potatoes, and it's just does the perfect job of thickening it right up. And boy, does that look beautiful. I think we can turn that off. So here it is. Wow. Can't wait to taste it. It smells wonderful. It is hot. I just want to try the broth first. Oh man, that is delish. Got some beautiful little pieces of clam in there, my diced potatoes, and just The chowder's up, and it's ready. And as you can see, it's not too thick. It's just kind of, some people like it thick. Almost stand a spoon up in it. They just want it heavy cream and creamy. And this is just a little bit more brothy. Using the instant potatoes did thicken it up a little bit, so it wasn't quite so thin, but I don't think anyone will complain this is too thick. For my taste, it's just right. Well, thanks so much for watching this episode of Cape House Cooking. I hope you try out a recipe of making clam chowder of any kind and enjoy.